Up with KREM begins now.
Right now on Up with KREM, you might have woken up this morning to this alert on your phone, as police had the area near Liberty Park blocked off for hours overnight in the middle of a search for a suspect. Today we've got the latest for you. Plus, 2 schools in our area will resume in-person classes today. We'll tell you about the new policies that are making it possible.
And this week's America's supply of Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine is expected to drop some 86%. How states are dealing with it.
And it's a chilly start to the day, but temperatures are on the rise. We'll let you know how warm we're going to get and talk a warm-up in the works.
As we mentioned, we're tracking breaking news this morning. That massive overnight manhunt in Spokane is now over. We want to thank you for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Joshua Robinson.
And I'm Dana Marie McNichol. Now, police had areas near Liberty Park in the Perry neighborhood blocked off for hours, and officers just updated us. Brandon T. Jones is there right now with the latest information. Good morning.
Yeah, this is normally a pretty quiet neighborhood, but that wasn't the situation here in the Perry district this morning. Neighbors woke up to the sound of helicopters above their homes and flashing police lights all over the place. I'll step out of the way. You can still see there's a few officers hanging around, some crime scene tape around the area, but this all started out in the West Plains. An officer out there reported a suspect fired shots at him, and that's when the suspect hopped in his vehicle, fled the scene, and took the situation out here to Spokane. Spokane Police Department took over, and they actually reported shots were fired at them as well. No officers were injured throughout this whole situation, but still a very scary situation for everyone involved. Like I said, I did speak with a neighbor, and this is how she described the situation.
About 3 o'clock this morning, you could hear helicopters and a bunch of traffic, and then we got a message on our telephone saying, hey, stay inside. We have a armed suspect in your neighborhood. Keep inside and stay low. And you know, I've been awake since about that time trying to figure out what was going on, kind of scared that somebody was going to break into the house or...
Yeah, there was a pretty huge perimeter set up all across the area. Several different units from different police outlets were here trying to help with the situation. I did speak with Spokane Police Department a little bit earlier today, and the main takeaway that we have right now is that there is no danger to the immediate public. Everything is going back to normal here in the Perry district. The suspect was found deceased, and officers are investigating it as a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Dana Marie, Joshua.
And of course, we will continue to follow that manhunt throughout the morning. Any updates you'd like, you can check out krem.com. Let's check in with Jeremy Lagoo. Good morning, Jeremy.
Well, good morning, Joshua. It is a chilly one, and if you're heading out the door, you're going to want to dress in layers, and here's the reason why. This morning, temperatures in the 20s. The air's got a bit of a bite to it as we start the week out rather chilly. But notice there's not a cloud in the sky, and those clear skies spread across the entirety of the inland northwest. Its temperatures right around 30 degrees now, but temps are on the rise. Wind picks up later this afternoon, and as it does so, we'll see a little bit of cloud cover move in, and that's really what's going to keep us from really watching those temperatures soar this afternoon. Right now, it's clear skies overhead, and as we move into the afternoon, we will see some of those clouds build in. A few isolated showers possible in far northern Idaho and far northern portions of Washington. And that's really about it. I don't think the moisture makes it much further south because there's just not much moisture. Tomorrow, we'll even see more sunshine as temperatures continue to rise. So today, expect to squeeze about 25 to even close to 30 degrees out of the day as temperatures start to rise. It's a bit breezy today, windy tomorrow, and I'll walk you through what that means coming up in the full forecast.
I'll let you know about week 3 of the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, which has started for the day today. We're giving you a live look at the hearing right now. Of course, we know that the second week was all about law enforcement and medical experts. The Minneapolis police chief and 7 other Minneapolis police officers have now testified, including several training officers, that in their view, Derek Chauvin went too far. The prosecution could rest its case at some point in the coming days. We will continue our live coverage of the trial today here on the CW22. Also this morning, another shooting is making headlines out of Minneapolis. Roughly 10 miles from where George Floyd was killed during an arrest last May, protesters are now clashing with police over the death of another black man. 20-year-old Duante Wright was stopped by police in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota over a traffic violation. After an altercation, an officer shot him and Wright died on the scene. His mother says her son called her moments before he was killed.
Said he was getting pulled over by the police. And I said, well, why did you get pulled over? He said they pulled him over because he had air fresheners hanging from the rearview mirror.
Demonstrators converged outside of the Brooklyn Center Police Department last night. Officers in riot gear had used flashbangs and chemical irritants to disperse that crowd, as you can see on your screen a moment ago. The mayor of Brooklyn Center put a curfew in place overnight, as police say body cams were rolling during the shooting. Those cameras will be examined.
Today, Gonzaga Prep and Freeman School District students will be returning to the classroom full-time. The change comes after Governor Inslee announced social distancing requirements for students would be decreased from 6 feet of separation to 3. About 35 students will remain remote in the Freeman School District. The district said they will develop a plan for students who will continue to learn remotely, but the district will not offer a hybrid schedule for the fourth quarter. Both schools will continue to practice coronavirus protocols such as wearing a mask and frequent cleaning. But across state line, according to a spokesperson from the Coeur d'Alene School District, the district board will evaluate their mask requirement after pushback from parents and community members. Around 50 community members protested the school's mask mandate Friday morning. The Panhandle Health District did decide to rescind their mask mandate at the end of March. The spokesperson says the school district is trying to control cases as the students return from spring break. They do want students to finish their SATs, the AP exams, and just go to prom.
7:37 now. Right now, nationwide, more than 70 million people are fully vaccinated. But many states, including ours, are bracing for fewer doses over the next couple of weeks because of a slowdown in the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Only 700,000 doses are allocated to states for the next week. That's about 85% less than last week. A contamination issue at a Baltimore production plant forced about 15 million doses to be thrown out. More than 35% of Americans have received at least one vaccine dose. In Georgia, Colorado, North Carolina, and Iowa combined, there have been reports of more than 45 adverse reactions to the one Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That includes 8 people who had reactions at the Cumming Fairgrounds site on Wednesday out of 425 Johnson & Johnson shots that were administered that day. The CDC says it's aware of incidents where people have experienced dizziness or lightheadedness, felt faint, or experienced rapid breathing or sweating. But the agency says it hasn't found a reason for concern with the vaccine lots and is still encouraging sites to keep administering the shot. Johnson & Johnson also says it's sharing these reports with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and other health authorities. They say when we receive reports of adverse events in individuals receiving our medicines and vaccines, we collect necessary information and carefully assess the events.
Well, here are 3 things you need to know about the coronavirus today. Starting off with number 1, Spokane's Parks and Recreation Department is moving forward with its plan to reopen public pools this summer. Under current state guidelines, pools must try to ensure social distancing for patrons not of the same household, including on the decks and in locker rooms, as well as in the water unless unavoidable. This includes the rearranging or removal of deck chairs and tables. Face coverings will be required when not outdoors, swimming, or using such equipment as water slides. So under phase 2, 50 participants would be allowed in the aquatic centers. Number 2, more than 1 in 5 Americans are fully vaccinated against COVID-19, and nearly 80% of people 65 and older have had at least 1 dose. Many states are reopening as well. Over the weekend, Utah became the 12th state to lift the mandate. To reach herd immunity, about 60% of the population needs to become fully vaccinated. And number 3, Pfizer is trying to get FDA approval to give COVID shots to children. Pfizer is testing its vaccine with kids as young as 6 months old. Early results so far indicate the vaccine is 100% effective in kids ages 12 to 15. That's the age group Pfizer is seeking for FDA approval right now. Now, some parents hesitate, worried about the speed of the vaccine development. While the vaccine's mRNA technology is newly approved, Pfizer says it's been under review and development for a really long time, and the pandemic boosted resources. Now, kids make up a quarter of the United States population, so to reach herd immunity and prevent COVID from spreading, doctors say adults and kids need to get vaccinated.
Well, today, county evaluations will be released by the state, and coming up in our next half hour, we'll let you know if Spokane County should expect to move into phase 2.
And coming up, we're talking a chilly start to the day, but temperatures on the rise. We'll talk just how warm we get later this afternoon.